And my advice to younger people is to work hard and never give up, because the sky's the limit in this industry. You can literally go anywhere, and I'm living proof.
Hello, and welcome to the Elevator Careers Podcast, sponsored by the Allred Group. I am your host, Matt Allred. In this podcast, we talk to the people whose lives and careers are dedicated to the vertical transportation industry to inform and share lessons learned, building upon the foundation of those who have gone before to inspire the next generation of elevator careers. Today, our guest is Amy DiPaolo. Amy is currently the Chief Sales Officer and an equity partner with Champion Elevator, headquartered in New York City. Amy started her career at Dover Elevator at age 18, working a temp job in the office, and she has never looked back. Amy is an ambitious learner and has performed every job possible and learned all aspects of running an elevator company. In 2014, Amy and her husband started Independence Elevator in New Jersey and operated it for 7 years. In 2021, they sold to Champion Elevator, and Amy joined as a partner. Amy is passionate about the elevator industry. She believes it is incumbent upon those who have benefited from it to volunteer and groom the next generation. Amy is proud to have accomplished so much in her career and looks forward to continuing on her journey. Amy, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm excited to have you here with me and get a chance to talk again. I know we tried this once before, and there was a jackhammer on the street.
Yes.
It was interesting.
It's a little noisy in Times Square.
I was going to say, when you get to downtown Manhattan, you don't know what you're going to get, right?
Correct.
Very cool. So let's just start. I want to find out a little bit more about your journey into the elevator industry. It's not every day that you find a woman-owned company and someone who spent, as I understand it, your entire career in the elevator industry. Is that correct?
Yes. I mean, I had a stint for about a year at a fluid technology company prior to elevators when I was 17. Okay. I graduated high school at 17. And then I found my way into elevators at 18. So yeah, I've been here ever since. And it was just dumb luck. It was actually a temp job that I got as an expediter to the Department of Buildings at Dover Elevator in Manhattan. And I had come on for a special project, and I guess I did well, and they liked me. They wanted to keep me, so they offered that job. And I was at Dover until they sold to Thyssen, doing every job imaginable. Kind of wanted to be well-rounded and learn everything that I could. As young as I was, I just soaked everything in. And I wound up loving it and learning a lot and, fitting in with this industry really well.
Which is an interesting statement, just because, especially as a 18, 19-year-old girl, did you ever feel a little outnumbered?
Oh, no, a lot. Yeah. I mean, there were other women in the office, of course, but, it was all administrative positions or receptionist, dispatcher, biller. Not many of them, they were good workers and did their jobs great, but they didn't have my ambition. I just soaked everything in. I want to learn every part that came across my desk. And I wanted to learn, how to troubleshoot elevators. I thought I wanted to learn that. So I took classes with the guys in the field, and I went out into the field with the guys, and, they taught me a lot about elevators. So I don't know. I really fell in love with the industry, and it was all I knew. I grew up in it. Yeah.
That's awesome. How long from the time you kind of started your first temp thing until the light bulb went off and you were like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I love it.
So, I mean, I was a temp for probably about 2 months, and I took the position in the expediter, and it was I was excited, because I was 18 years old and making what I thought was incredible money at the time, which was, it was probably a really bad salary actually, but it's a paycheck when you're 18 and you just think you're rich. So I really enjoyed it very early on, and I gravitated towards operations and learning a lot about elevators more than learning about billing and payroll, and which I did learn that stuff a little later on. But I had a mentor. His name was John Canetti, and he taught me a lot about elevators and about real life too. And he really gave me the passion and love for the industry, and I wanted to learn more mostly because of him.
Right.
So yeah, he was a great guy.
That's
And
awesome. How long did you get a chance to work with John? Was that?
John I worked with for about 6 years, and then he retired. And unfortunately, he passed away 2 years later. But he was an elevator guy who became, a service manager, and he had a lot of passion, and he was very brash and outspoken, and treated me hard, but in a good way because he wanted me to learn. And he would test me daily and throw parts on my desk and say, "What's that?" And if I didn't come up with the right answer, I didn't get a good reaction from him. So I really tried my best to learn all the Dover parts and soak in everything that he was teaching me.
That's cool. I mean, it sounds like he believed in you. He knew you could do it, and he was challenging you to take that next step all along the way.
Yeah, I like to think that. I do. I think he did think of me as his little protege, and he did want me to learn. And it showed. It showed in what I did learn and what I could do for him. And I was his right hand man, so to speak, right hand girl, and we worked together great. So that was the beginning of my career was a huge learning experience, but it was a lot of fun.
Right. So did you ever think, hey, I want to go do something else? I want to go, back to school and study something different.
So when I was in my mid-20s, Dover Elevator was an amazing company, and they treated their employees very, very well. And they had a tuition reimbursement program. So I did go to a county college in the evening to try and get a business degree. Never got that degree. I wound up getting promoted and thought to myself, well, I really don't need that. I kind of kicked myself. I wish I would have stayed with it. But I'm doing okay right now, so I can't complain. But that was really the only time that I wanted to do something different. And it wasn't doing a different career. It was just kind of bettering myself with my education. But otherwise, no, I stayed the path, and I just kind of kept working as hard as I could and getting recognized and promoted, and just climbed the ladder.
Yeah. What would you say was, I mean, obviously it sounds like you were learning a lot. You were willing to learn. Mm-hmm. What was the biggest key to your success, to all the promotions and the growth?
Well, I think being willing to learn, and, they weren't always promotions. They might have been a lateral move, and I did it just to learn because I wanted to be well-rounded, and I wanted to know every possible facet of running an elevator company. And I did. There's not a job that I haven't done except be a mechanic in the field.
Right.
And even so, I do have a very good general knowledge of elevators, because I did learn a lot of things through parts and speaking with the guys and going out in the field and taking educational courses in the industry. So I'm probably a lot more technical than a normal, say, salesperson, but I don't claim to be able to go out in the field and fix elevators. But besides that, I've pretty much done every job, and I'd be willing to take a step sideways or even backwards, which I did once in my career. I took a step back when I left a company so that I could get further in my career. Okay. So, so you got to be willing to do things like that. And, for me, in the end, it's so far, it's paying off.
Yeah. When did you kind of get the vision that, hey, I'm going to run my own company? Was that something you had worked towards, or was it kind of like, okay, now I'm ready?
So, at the time that happened, it was just all the stars aligned in my life at that point, personally and professionally, that I felt that I had run my course, making money for a lot of other people. And I knew that I could do it myself. There was no reason I couldn't run a company, because I had done basically that in a lot of positions for other people and helped grow their companies. I knew operations, I knew sales, I knew finance. And it was kind of just, again, also personal at that time. I was in New York and had a real bad commuting day coming home. And I was kind of fed up with the travel aspect at the time, and came home and told my husband we were going to start a company. And to his credit, he followed his crazy wife, and that's what we did.
So it wasn't that you had been planning on it for the previous 10 years, but when it came time, you were like, you know what, I have all the tools, I have all the knowledge, I know what I need. Let's go make it happen.
Correct.
And did you start from scratch, or did you purchase another company, or how did that work?
So, at the time I was working for Hudson Elevator, and I had brought over a good amount of New Jersey business. Hudson was a New Jersey and New York company, and most of the business was mine. So I worked out a deal to purchase the maintenance contracts in New Jersey from Hudson, and it was a small base. And I started out with that base, and my husband was the route mechanic for that base. So we made a good team. I ran the office, I sold, I did everything in finance, and he fixed all the elevators. And that quickly escalated to getting employees and adding people and growing.
Cool. And how long did you run your company before you merged with Champion and into your new position?
Yeah, so we had Independence Elevator for 7 years. And we grew it to a nice size business that was a very good quality company, very much known for the quality that we gave in service. And the interaction with suppliers was excellent. I didn't owe anybody a dime when I sold. I'm kind of proud of that. It doesn't happen that often. So we were a very healthy company. And at the time we sold to Champion, I wanted to do more, and I knew that. And although we were healthy and we were doing well, in order to get to the next level, I needed more resources. Sure. And that's something that, Champion provided for us.
Absolutely. So, and tell me, I know you were recently promoted within Champion. So you came on as an equity partner, as I understand it. And then what's your new role? Tell us a little bit about that.
So yeah, in late June, I took on the role of Chief Sales Officer for Champion. I do kind of still oversee the New Jersey operations as well, because it's nice and convenient. And it is my customers and a lot of my employees. So that's still under my wing, but we have a branch manager there now. And I'm in charge of sales for New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, Long Island, Hudson Valley, all of our branches. In charge of the revenue and building the department and building Champion Elevator. So it's really exciting. It's very, very fast paced, and I'm doing a lot of traveling again, but it's traveling that I don't mind. And I'm excited about the opportunities that lay ahead for us.
That's awesome. That's exciting. And I don't know how big your team is, but yeah, it sounds like you're on the road quite a bit. And it's certainly, like you say, one step beyond. You've got a much bigger base, I assume, now to be responsible for.
Yeah. So, we're quite a large company, and we have a very large staff in the sales department. I have salespeople, surveyors, we have estimators, coordinators. So there's a lot of people that I'm responsible for giving direction and for holding accountable. So we have goals that we set, and I'm going to make sure that we get there and bring it to the next level. So I have a high level of confidence in that.
Yeah, well, that's exciting. That's exciting. Mm-hmm. So as you look to, let's talk for a minute just about the industry overall, and what would you say are some of the challenges facing the elevator industry?
I mean, right now there's a lot, right? But I think that coincides with most service industries and manufacturing industries. The supply chain woes and issues is a very, very real thing. Parts lead times, the expense of parts. That's just huge. It's really driving new pricing structures in the
Right.
industry and to our customers. So, it all flows downhill. So, whatever costs we get go to the customers. So it's really, the country as a whole right now, and the economic um, problems that the country is having is definitely not escaping our industry.
Sure.
And it's something that we need to deal with every day when estimating and planning. And then, of course, we talked earlier also the personnel staffing.
Sure.
It's a big deal right now. So there's probably in the next 5 years, and it has already started, it's been a while, but we will have a pretty big mass exodus of people retiring. And I see it for a lot of field guys and certainly people in the office as well. But it's something that we all really have to think about, because I feel as, an experienced executive in the industry, and even just a manager, that it's incumbent upon all of us to teach and mentor the next generation that's going to take over this industry. I feel very strongly about that.
Right.
So I work on being a mentor in and outside of my company. And I think it's something that we all need to do. We have to think of out of the box ways to hire people into the industry, and then to mentor and teach them proper work ethic and all about the industry. So, I feel a very personal responsibility for that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it seems from my perspective that not only are you losing a lot of people, but you're losing so much experience, so much, just knowledge that, over a 30, 40-year career, to walk that out the door it's hard. I can't imagine how hard to replace that knowledge and bring somebody in that doesn't have 30, 40 years to learn that, and maybe the history, and here's how you service this older equipment or things like that.
Yeah. So, the elevator equipment is always going to need people to work on them. With all the remote monitoring options and everything else, somebody's always going to have to go out and fix it.
Sure.
It's just never going to go away. So, I feel very strongly. I know a lot of companies, maybe some of the bigger companies, use mechanics together a lot. They hook two mechanics up to do something. I really feel strongly that we need to use those apprentices, the helpers, get them taught,
Sure.
Bring in the young guys that didn't want to go to college and are going to technical school. Personally, my son is in the industry, and he came almost out of high school. He went to college for a year and COVID hit, and he decided he wanted to work with his hands. So we hired him as a helper, and he's doing fabulous. This is, probably better than most of his college friends. Not probably, definitely just bought a house, and he's doing well. This is an industry that you can succeed in no matter how you come into it. If you start out as a teenager like I did, fresh out of high school, if you start out with a year of college or technical school, or fully with a bachelor's degree, anybody can be successful in this industry. Absolutely anybody. As long as you work hard and you're dedicated and you have the passion and the fire, anybody can be successful.
Right. Well, and I think one of the things that I see is just the, kind of the tradition of, you talked about mentoring the next generation. It seems like there are a lot of people in the industry that really want to teach. They want to mentor. And so if you're the new person coming in and you have that fire to learn, to grow, they will pour all kinds of knowledge into you, but you've got to be willing to receive it, is the way I see it.
Definitely. And, my radar's always out for that. We hire a lot of people, and if I see the willingness to learn and the drive, and it may be a simple task, but that's where it all starts, right? So it takes time, and you've got to be willing as a mentor to have the patience and the energy to teach the people and make sure that they learn the proper way, so we can continue to have a great industry long after we're gone.
Right. What would you say are some of the solutions? I mean, you kind of talked about, we're hiring creatively. How do you, I guess, see that coming together in a way to replace all the talent that's going to be leaving?
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a bunch of ways that you can recruit people. It, it's hard right now because, especially in the office, within the field, of course, you're either union or non-union. I happen to work for a union company, and there's certain ways they recruit. They have recruiting sessions, I don't know, once a year or so. They may hire from the military. Anybody that I've gotten from the military usually has incredible work ethic, and
Sure.
I love them. And they wind up, really doing a great job in the company. As far as office staff, I look outside of the industry sometimes. Anybody with an engineering degree may be a great candidate for a project manager, or HVAC is an industry that's very closely related to elevators, where we may look for salespeople. But because these people are aging out and retiring, we need to think out of the box. Otherwise, we'll fail. We have to get replacements. So you have to be willing to teach and show people what to do.
Yeah, exactly. I've got a friend who, her son is taking like ag mechanic type classes, and so I was telling her a little bit about the elevator industry. She's like, "Oh my gosh, I had no idea." Right? I wouldn't, So she went home to tell her son that he needs to look into the elevator industry, but it does seem like just so many people don't know about it, and so we teach inside, but we also kind of have to teach the public that, hey, here's this industry, and here are these amazing opportunities that you might not know about.
Right. So, we do have industry associations, the ECMY, the NEEC, there's a bunch of associations that, can reach out to various recruiting places to let them know about the elevator industry. Even as a company, you could go to local college fairs and let those kids, even community colleges
Sure.
or state colleges, and just let them know about your company. So you really need to be willing to make that effort to recruit people, even if you're a small company, versus a large company. You may have less resources, but to reach out to those various different ways of looking outside of the industry is to me, I've found it to work. So
yeah. What are the? I'm just curious your advice or thoughts on let's say you do bring some people in. How do you keep them? They have a lot of options. What are the best ways to keep people in your company and engaged versus, oh, hey, I think I'm going to go do something else?
Yeah. So, I mean, you really have to have a good culture within your company that cares about the employees and keeps them engaged, does things like, we have fishing boat where they go out. We have summer picnics. We have Christmas parties. This is not just, it's a morale boost to do stuff like that.
Sure.
And it shows the employees that you really care about them. Of course, most people, money talks, right? So it does cost a lot of money to hire people with experience now, and you've got to be willing to put the money out there if you want that. Sure. And a lot of people do, and you can certainly pick and choose where you want the experienced people versus the new people and have them even mentor. But I would say keep the employees engaged, and we put out a newsletter as well, and you give people recognition when they do good things. But that's part of your day-to-day management as well. I mean, that's my style. You're certainly there to make people accountable, but you really should be there to give them accolades when they do good things as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. Just, I mean, them knowing they're cared about. And that is definitely one thing I see in the elevator industry versus other industries I've been associated with or worked in is it is a big family, or can be a big family at times, that just the level of caring is certainly deeper than some of the other companies I've worked for, or the industries I've worked in. And I think that's a lot of what has caught my attention. I started, recruiting in the elevator industry about 12 years ago with one of the majors. And I was instantly kind of shocked that there was just kind of this friendship and a lot of, people know each other and care about each other deeply. And it was kind of the opposite of what I had seen before, because one particular company I worked for that they will remain nameless, but the culture there was, we kind of hated the opponent. We hated the competition.
Uh,
And that's just so opposite of what I see in the elevator industry. I see a
there's
lot more respect.
Yeah, and there's a lot of friendly competition in the elevator industry. There's so many of us that go to so many different um, events together where we meet up with each other. And rather than, it's always a happy welcome to see them
Sure.
and that maybe you haven't seen them in a while. So no, we share. A lot of times we'll share best practices. Certainly, I don't think anybody in this industry has ever been stingy when it comes to sharing information on safety, because that's a really big
Sure.
thing in this industry. And
Sure.
even major companies will share stuff with independent companies. I have seen it. So that a collective effort in the industry to really focus on that is pretty amazing. But besides that, there's a tremendous amount of camaraderie. A lot of people in the New York area, we kind of all know each other, the different leaders of the companies in this area and owners. So yeah, it's unlike many, many industries. And that's part of the reason why I love it so much.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the way that can apply to bringing people in is helping them see that
Yeah.
it's not just a job, but there's more to it. There is a community, and the more you get into it and get to know people, the more you realize that. So no, this has been great, and we're kind of running out of time. But I'm just curious if you could give one piece of advice or send one message to our listeners or others in the industry. What would you like to share?
I mean, a message to everybody in the industry is just that it's a privilege and an honor, I think, to be in this industry with all the people that I work with. And I'm happy when I go to work every day. I love feeling a sense of accomplishment. And my advice to younger people is to work hard and never give up, because the sky's the limit in this industry. You can literally go anywhere. And I'm living proof.
Absolutely. Amy, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. It's been great talking to you.
Thank you, Matt. You too.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to the Elevator Careers podcast, sponsored by the Allred Group, a leader in elevator industry recruiting. You can check us out online at elevatorcareers.net. Please subscribe, and until next time, stay safe.